Hello,
Hmm. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good too.
So,
How's
how
your
is
day?
everything going these days? My day was good.
Okay. I think you are busy nowadays because you are not on Clappingo.
Yes, I recently started studying for an exam, like my master's entrance exam. So I
Yeah.
had not been able to give that much time. You're right. All right. So, how have things been going for your English journey? Have you faced any new issues?
No, I think I have improved much more, but yeah, I think the sentence structuring is I'm like facing some problem in that, like sentence is structuring.
Okay. So, you
Yeah.
wish to, do you want to work on your sentence structure for this class?
Yeah. Yeah.
Shall we do that?
Yes.
Okay. So see, I'll give you some basic information, okay, before we start, and then
Okay.
we'll do a short activity to work on it. Okay.
Okay.
So the thing about sentence structuring is you can have two kinds of sentences in English
Hmm.
grammar, okay? One is a simple sentence and one is a complex sentence. Okay?
Okay.
The definition is very fairly simple. What happens in a simple sentence is one person is talking about one thing.
Hmm.
Okay. For example, Chandan is going to the market. So my person is Chandan, like I'm talking about one person, and there's one thing. So you have one object and one subject. Subject is the human being or the person that's being talked about, and object is whatever there is being talked about, right? So let's say Chandan goes to the market. Chandan subject, market object. Okay.
Hmm.
In a complex sentence, you have many more things. You can have multiple subjects, multiple objects, depending on how complicated your sentence is. Okay.
Okay.
Now, most of the times you will not struggle with simple sentences if you're struggling with sentence formation, right?
Yes.
Complex sentences, however, they are very difficult to figure out. Where do you place things, right? So, what I usually tell people who are struggling with sentence formation is try to, when you're speaking in English, you don't need to form complex sentences. You can work with a lot of simple sentences in a row without pausing much, and it will sound like you're making one sentence.
Okay.
Okay, I'll show you. This is a sentence that I just made. You can make multiple sentences in a row without pausing much, and it'll sound like a complete sentence. These are three sentences, but I've
Yes.
spoken them in such a way that they sound like one sentence. Okay, so we're gonna do this activity wherein I want you to talk about things while focusing on making fairly simple sentence. That means when you're making a sentence, try to have only one thing that you're talking about per sentence. Okay,
Okay.
make sense? It sounds complicated, but when you do it, it'll become easier. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about COVID protocol. Okay.
Okay.
Let's say you are one person who is trying to explain it to me. I don't know what COVID-19 is, and I don't know what do I need to do to keep myself safe. So you're letting me know all that I need to know. Sounds good?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's start.
So, COVID is a pandemic. To be protected from COVID, we have to wear mask and we need to maintain a distance between each other about 6 feet.
Lovely. You started very, very well. In fact, I counted your sentences. You made a lot of sentences, different sentences, and you said them together and it was sounding really fluent. When you started joining sentences, that is when you said or and because, slightly later, it was getting a little more complicated, but I understand. So you need conjunctions also. That's also good. Okay. Now, what happens mostly with you, Chandan, is when you're forming what you want to say while you're talking, you struggle, right?
Yeah.
So let's try this. I want you to take a pause. Okay. So there's something called breathing, and there's something called breathing when you're talking, right? It's
Mm.
slightly different. When I'm talking, I do need to give myself time to breathe, but I can't breathe how I usually breathe because then that will just, let's say I want to breathe in the middle of a sentence. If I do this, then it sounds really
Yeah.
weird, right? So
Yes.
we're going to practice breathing into making things simpler. So let's say when you were done talking about the basic things and you were making a sentence with or before you started your elaborate sentence, you could have been like, yes, so that is how COVID works. Moving on, COVID works. And then before you say moving on, you can take a
Yeah.
small
Breathe.
gap. And then you can use that gap to make your next sentence. Right? So Words like moving on, going further, these words, they give you time to pause, even when you're explaining things to people, right? Even right, like taking an affirmation. So let's do it with one more topic, okay? And try and use
Okay.
a pause here, okay? Whenever you feel like I don't know what to say next, try and take a purposeful pause, okay? Now I want you to talk to me about, let's say, who's your favorite hero?
Yeah, I don't have any favorite hero. Yeah, we can talk about procrastination. I think this is the topic.
Procrastination, right? I love that topic. Go ahead.
Should I start?
Yes. Yes, please.
Yeah. So procrastination is the major issue in student life. Let's say like for a student uh, in their studies. So when he start going for the study, so he procrastinate. Like he don't want to study, so he think that I'll study tomorrow. I'll study yesterday. So he always put their work on next day. So he think that leave it for today, I'll do it tomorrow. So I think procrastination is a major issue in everyone's life, because procrastination is the thing which, if you continue doing that, so you'll never achieve the success. So to be successful, I think we should avoid procrastination.
You spoke fairly well, and there were lesser, I could see a couple of pauses, but they sounded more purposeful. Now, I have one suggestion for you. Whenever you talk, if you feel yourself using a word a lot of times, try to avoid using that word. Just eliminate that particular word. Let's say in this time when you were talking, you repeated the word so a lot, right? You also felt it. You were repeating the word so again and again.
Yeah.
So you will know when you're doing that. Yeah, go ahead. You were saying something.
Yeah, I used to like uh, say again and again, like two or three words, like, so, and I think both these two words, like and so.
I can understand that. You see, all of us have fillers. Even in your native language, you would have seen we have filler words, right? Not
Yes.
everything you say can be purposeful. Then it won't be conversation. There needs to be a couple. There would be a couple of things that don't necessarily are very that important in your sentence, right? So that's okay. If whenever you're repetitive, no, people will notice. Let's say if you have a different variety, like you can have a lot of filler words, but so long as they're different from each other, nobody will notice. That's what your brain catches on to. You'll also notice when you're hearing someone talk, like, try and notice yourself when you're looking at someone's speech or watching someone talk. If they're being very repetitive, you'll notice. If
Yes.
they aren't being that repetitive, you usually don't notice if people are using filler words because we are habitual to them, right? So just stop yourself from making it very repetitive. Rest what you said sounded great.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Let's talk a little bit about a session document, and then towards the end, I will give you more tips about sentence structure. Sounds good?
Yeah, I think I don't want to talk about that document section. Yeah, I have another topic is about the present. When I speak, so I have a conflict between present and past. So I don't know to where to use second form and where to use first form. So like if I have to say that I thought, I think, so in both I'll confuse. So
Okay. So, you know, most people that are working on their English, they tend to have these doubts because what happens is present perfect tense, you will see, is talking about someone about your present tense, but it's always taking information from the past tense, you will observe.
okay.
I have finished my thesis. Now you finished your thesis in the past, but I have finished my thesis is a present tense sentence. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a present perfect sentence. That is where the doubt comes. So the easiest way to understand what tense you're talking about is take a look at this. Whatever you're saying to that other person, are you talking about your state right now? What
Okay.
is happening around me right now? If I'm describing that, things about the present, let's say I'm having a lot of body happening right
Hmm.
now, you
Yeah.
know. So that would come in my present tense. But I had a headache today.
So
Not you
it's
don't
in
have it
past.
right. Then it
Yeah.
becomes past. So that is how you'll understand. If that is something that you're feeling, experiencing, doing right now, then it becomes your present tense. If it's
Okay.
anything that is not, in the present context, abhi nahi ho raha hai mere saath mein, it's not happening right now. Maybe it happened a couple of minutes ago also, still it becomes past tense. Okay? I was just talking to someone before I joined this call. Still past. Okay?
Past.
Before I joined, then I will use the ed form. I won't
Yeah,
use,
joint.
because I've already joined this call, right? Even if I joined this call a couple of seconds ago. Okay? So that's how you know. Do you want to try it with a couple of examples? Give me a couple of sentences that you feel like you struggle with. Do you have, yeah.
Yeah, like I thought that it might happen. Yeah, I should use. I think this might be happen.
That's a good
Which,
one.
yeah, which one is correct? Think or thought?
You thought. I thought that it could happen or it might happen,
Yeah.
right? Because you're not thinking right now. Right now,
Yes.
you're telling me what you thought, right? If you're thinking right now, then you'll say, I think it's not going to work out, or it might happen that way.
Okay.
But if you're describing what you thought earlier, let's say when you were not here, I thought that, you might not come today, then it'll
Yes.
be. Hmm?
Like I have eaten the food, so it's in past now.
Yes, but we don't say eaten, we say ate, right?
Eight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I ate. Yeah, I had. Or, you to remove this confusion, you can even say I had dinner. So you don't
Yeah.
have to go for eat and
Yeah. It's a
ate. You
simple
can just say
sentence.
I had.
Yeah.
Okay, I had dinner. Or did you have your breakfast? Have and had actually go with a lot of things. Okay.
Okay. So have is
And
in present. Had is for past.
yes.
Did is also for past.
Sorry.
Did is also for past.
Sometimes when you're making it as a sentence, did can be a past of a lot of things. Did is more like, like am. Am is not present past or anything. It's like a word that's coming in a sentence, right? Mostly
Yes.
it'll come in. So have and had are two words that you can use very comfortably when it comes to food. Okay. Have you had your dinner? Okay. What are you
Okay.
having today? Right. So if you
Yes.
have a confusion between eat, ate, then you can use have.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any more doubt sentences, like sentence you feel like you struggle with?
No.
No? Okay. I'll quickly give you some feedback then. Okay.
Okay.
I can see that you want to work a little bit more on your tenses. I'll give you something that I do. Because I don't like learning tenses like people usually learn tenses,
Yes.
learning about past participle and present perfect. I don't like that much.
Mm,
So,
those things doesn't work that much.
yeah, those things don't work that much.
Okay. Don't.
Okay, they don't work that much, and I agree with you because it gets very complicated. This is
Yes.
something that I do. So the doubt that you asked was a very good doubt because you should be able to distinguish between the three main tenses more than you should be able to distinguish between every form of the three tenses, right?
Yes.
So here's where you can start. For past and perfect, I do this. I watch a lot of interviews because in interviews, no, people are constantly either they're answering questions in the present tense or they're talking about some incident in the past. So you're constantly within these two tenses, right? And there are a lot of continuous and other variables that will be coming. So watch interviews and take note, when did they switch to the ed form or the past form of words? Like when did that person make it a past tense sentence when they were talking to this person right now in the interview? Okay. Even for the interviewer, what kind of questions have they placed in the past tense? That will really help you understand. Okay. Most of the times tense is about examples more than it's about theory. So take a look at a lot of examples. Even if you want to Google some kind of tense, Google examples, so then you'll be able to understand much better. Okay.
Okay.
Then I'll give you some feedback about yourself. So I remember talking to you. I know you're a YouTuber also, so I've seen you around. And I feel
Yeah.
like you're improving. That here are some things that I want you to do. Okay.
Yes.
I want you to watch your recordings. I know you probably do. And take note of the number of times you're repeating a certain word, or if someone has asked you or pointed you out for repetition. Okay. And then say those things aloud to yourself. In that moment, just pause the video and try saying the same thing again. You'll observe you'll be able to say it without any fillers. Okay. So do this a couple of times. It teaches my brain to be able to speak the same sentence without adding fillers. Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes people have a habit of adding fillers at a few places. Some people have a habit of adding fillers to their introduction. So if you have something like that going on, you can eliminate that. Okay. Rest,
Okay.
I do want you to do this often. So if you've just said something, try taking a pause and repeating it in a better manner. You'll know if it's sounding better or not. That helps a lot with sentence formation. You'll just realize one better way to frame the same thought, right?
Yes. Yes.
That is what sentence formation is. I'm just forming my thoughts. I can form them in like 1,000 different ways and be correct. But what is sounding best? Okay. So try that out. So try with these thoughts. Just these two things that we did today, procrastination and COVID-19. You
COVID.
can try talking about it again and see how can you make it very, very impressive. So let's say
Okay.
the next time we can meet, I can ask you a similar question and let's see what you have there. Make sense?
Yeah.
Or if you have any doubts, then you can go ahead.
No.
All right. It was lovely talking to you, Chandan.
Same
Have
here.
a great day.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night. Bye bye.